EGD in Sit Critic News. Join in!
Should be fun.
Wait, are we allowed to talk now?
Yeah, we're allowed to talk.
Okay.
Welcome to the podcast.
Well, what's fucked is that everything I just said was also on mute, so no one even heard it.
Were you really on mute?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, wow, okay.
Man, we are off to a great start.
Great start. It's always a great start. So yeah, we're going to talk about games for 2017. The fact that too many goddamn games came out within the first branch of the year, literally first 3 or 4 months is just ridiculous. And then gaming failures, which we'll get to that and you'll see exactly what that means. And our hopes and predictions for E3 and, you know, and then some, with that being said. So, yeah. Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Let's get down to business. Okay, so the game of the year for 2017, at least the top one, was Breath of the Wild. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much around the board, Breath of the Wild got 10 out of 10,
Yeah.
9.5 out of 10. So, I mean, it's pretty much assumed around the board, every publication, Game of the Year winner was Breath of the Wild.
Okay, so with Breath of the Wild being Game of the Year, is there anything you feel that should have been there, or do you think Breath of the Wild actually deserved it?
Mario Odyssey. You think I'm joking? That game was freaking phenomenal.
I mean, okay, yeah, Mario Odyssey was pretty good. It wasn't Breath of the Wild good, though.
Well, I mean, you're
Dude, I
looking
don't know,
at...
man. I put the same amount of time into both of them, and I don't know, man. I thought it was good. Thought it was real good.
Two completely different genres, though. I mean, it's really hard to put those games side by side with each other and compare an open world RPG to Mario Odyssey. So, I mean, yes, both are worthy of Game of the Year, but I think when you go down to the amount of time people are putting into each, I think Breath of the Wild was much more substantial than actual Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Definitely. And honestly, with I don't know. So here's the thing with Breath of the Wild, though, that Mario Odyssey did not have, is that with the call connection being lost, it basically allows everybody to completely miss out on everything that could have been or would have been in this entire thing. But since I am now alone in this call, I can definitely state that since they can't say anything against what I'm about to say, I think Lawbreakers is a terrible video game. Sorry for anyone out there that likes it. I think Gears of War definitely should have about 8 or 9 different iterations. I feel as though Gears of War does not have enough games, and they should come up with more, because why shouldn't they? And what's great is that no one is here to tell me otherwise. So I'm gonna... No one is here to tell me otherwise. So I think I'm just gonna 100% agree with my own idea. So there we go. I think I win that argument since no one can tell me that I'm wrong. Lawbreakers is great. Yes, you can type that in the chat. Lawbreakers is great. Yeah, it's phenomenal game if you like garbage. And then when they come out with 6 other Gears of War games, I'm going to make sure all of them are made by Michael Bay. That's what I have to say. Never heard of it, so it must not be that good. Lawbreakers in a nutshell, although I'm going to get some backlash for saying this. Lawbreakers in a nutshell is basically Overwatch. With jetpacks. Like, it's basically Overwatch with jetpacks. I don't think I have another way of saying that. It's Lawbreakers is just Overwatch with jetpacks. And it's not very well received in the gaming community at all. When I first played it, I thought it was pretty poo. So, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's not really all that great. It's not. It's funny because
what just happened?
I don't know, but I definitely am just bashing Lawbreakers in Gears of War. Since you can't say anything.
Okay, what?
Since you can't say anything, I can just diss both games.
Hold on.
Having a technical difficulty. Luckily, I'll be able to edit this out while the video is going up.
Watching this podcast like playback and watching like us cut out, you're like, oh no. I sent you a re-invite to the meet room.
The meet room?
Yeah, the meet room.
All right, guys, I'm going to the meet room.
Oh, can they still hear us? Oh, that's awkward.
They can hear both of us.
Oh, hi.
I can edit all this out before it goes up as an official video. Fuck, who am I going in as?
Just go in.
I'm going.
At this point, we're just like sitting here awkwardly.
Yeah, first podcast going well. Something went wrong. It just told me something went wrong.
What if you made a meet room and just sent us an invite? Did it give you the option to join?
Yeah. Now it wants me to log in.
Gears is the GOAT, bro. Hey, we're back.
Oh, I have arrived.
Hey.
Oh, we fixed it. I think it's because Fraley Noodle Soup over here, looking like Roger Craig Smith.
Roger. Bounce pad.
Bounce pad. Bounce pad. Bounce pad.
Bounce pad.
All right, guys. Bounce pad.
Okay, back to it.
Okay, back to the game of the year.
Look at my stream.
So I just want to pause. I did hear you talking a lot of shit about Lawbreakers before we hopped off. So
Yeah.
I just want to correct the statement. You don't have enough time in Lawbreakers to be criticizing it. So please just right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, am I getting jumped on about Lawbreakers by you?
No.
Yeah.
Actually, if I'm being honest, it was a complete failure. But we can move on from there. Sorry, David.
Whoa.
We're not even at failures yet. We'll save that one for later.
Okay. Well, I mean, what were we talking about before we got?
We were talking about Breath of the Wild and why it deserved Game of the Year more than Mario.
Okay, hold on. Keep talking. I'm trying to share this stuff.
Because it's Breath of the Wild, dude. Like.
Okay, so Breath of the Wild had a lot more you could do in it. Mario's good, but you had so much more you can do in Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, every time I play it, I feel like there's always something I had never seen before, which always wigs me out, because I thought I went through the entire map. It has way more replayability than Mario could ever have.
Odyssey, yeah.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild actually has a sense of challenge, which Mario games normally don't nowadays. It's not like I'm saying it's easy, but it's not like Breath of the Wild you can play it to try and better yourself. And Mario you can only get just so good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really dive into it too much because I obviously don't have long extents with the games as either of you do.
Because you're weird.
But, no, yeah, well, you know, some of us don't.
You're a noob.
Your money on a Switch. But, you know, I mean, essentially, even from, like, back in the older days, like, you know, Mario's compared to Zelda, I would say that Zeldas were always way more difficult than, like, any type of Mario game was. Unless you're talking about 2D type Mario games. But, I mean, like, Super Mario 64 versus, you know, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, or Ocarina of Time, I would take Zelda all day, every day.
Yeah.
But I would say you have a similar situation here.
Well, are there games that you feel like... Okay, so one thing that annoyed me about the whole Game of the Year thing was they wanted Horizon Zero Dawn in there so badly. Like, it was in every nomination. It could have won, like, maybe 8 or 9 different times. I didn't like that game, personally.
Well,
What?
I mean, you like Lawbreaker, so I can't hear a what from you.
Oh, okay.
That's a fair point. But
You're gonna hear a
me,
what on both.
I put over 80 hours into Horizon Zero Dawn, and I easily would choose Horizon Zero Dawn over those. But then again, I did not put the time that you guys did into the Switch games. I think Horizon Zero Dawn had a lot of things going for the genre that
Like
a lot of people didn't.
Like the Tomb Raider gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, it was something fresh on a genre that had been kind of stale. I mean, everyone wants to do open world RPGs, but no one really took a stance of, AI robotic.
Have you
dinosaurs
played, like, Tomb Raider, Rise of Tomb Raider, or the other Tomb Raider reboot?
The definitive edition.
So they, like, basically took Tomb Raider and then put her in the world of Monster Hunter on ice. It was Monster Hunter on ice, starring Lara Croft as a ginger. Like, I could not get into the game at all. Like, I could not. And then how she was not the best thing to look at. Okay, especially as a kid.
Are you joking me?
Dude, you go through. Yes, I'm not joking. You go through like an hour and something of the gameplay, and she looks like a little, like a warthog. Like,
okay,
She looks like a warthog.
I mean that aside, but I mean, like, if
and then the gameplay.
you're looking at an all-female protagonist that is not exactly popular among video games these days, like, in that sense. And I mean, yes, she does look a little bit like that, but
Ugly. But
I mean,
even then, if I'm gonna stare at this, okay, let's get away from her looks. The gameplay itself, for me, because I'm not gonna fully hate on the game. I did play it. I put about 15 hours into it.
Okay, so you didn't beat the game, though.
No, fuck no. I couldn't even bring myself to. I just started playing Rise of Tomb Raider instead. It was like the same thing, but not as
fantastic.
good. Yeah, and Rise of Tomb Raider, and that's what freaking... That's, like, all Horizon Zero Dawn was to me. Like, I could not get into it. Like...
Dude, but
I mean, it's not for everybody.
Hold on. And I think, Devin, you can attest to this, too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you put about maybe, like, I would say 15 hours into it, and then something happens, and out of nowhere, that game literally, like, the story just unfolds. And that's when I started getting hooked.
Yeah.
Because at first, when I was playing it, I was literally sitting back going, like, oh my god, like, I'm doing the same thing. I'm killing these robot dinosaur-looking things, and I'm just, like, kind of trudging through the mud in a way. But then it was like, then once you got to this one part, the story just kind of starts really opening up, and then it was like, okay.
Wait, you're talking about Horizon,
hooked.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
so do I need to get further in before it gets good? Because
I'm not. Well, I mean, I would agree. I mean, if in any story-driven, narrative-driven game, you're going to get to a point where you have to have that build-up. And about, like he said, there comes a point in Horizon where it goes a lot deeper. So you're just playing the game and you're going against AI robots. And the human AI is absolutely garbage. Don't even get me on a rant on that. Human AI sucks. But you're just going against robotic dinosaurs. You don't know what the hell is going on. You're just going up against a bunch of monsters. But then when you get to that point in the story, you're like, okay, what is the reason that all this happened? And then when you get into the back layer of the story where you're starting to figure out why the world's so fucked up and everything beyond it, the story's actually very good. The narratives, like the storytelling in that is actually, I think, is phenomenal. But you have to get past that early initial stage where she actually goes through, the Elder Council, that group. When she gets past that and actually into it, it actually gets a lot better.
Okay. I guess I will give the game...
Okay, I would even say, too, without giving away, like, spoilers and stuff for people that maybe haven't played it yet, which shame on you if you haven't, but there is a part in the game where you're climbing, like, this giant ass, like, it's almost like a skyscraper, and then, like, once you get to the top, there's a cinematic scene. Everything after that changed the entire game for me. Like, I got 110% addicted to that game, and I couldn't put the controller down.
I will give it another chance.
You should.
I will give it another chance.
Because I will tell you that is probably one of my favorite games of this year.
If you want to hear the God honest truth, I bought a PlayStation just to play that game, and I dropped serious time into that game. Like a ton of time, probably more than I have in a game in quite a while. I played on the hardest difficulty you could, I do that when I play open world RPGs, just because I want it to be as hard as I can so I can play through the game. And I put over 80 hours into it. You need to finish it. And David, I know you didn't beat the game initially. Have you beat it yet?
Oh yeah, I've beaten
Okay,
it,
so you
like a long time ago.
Okay, I will go through. I will re-download it because I deleted the living shit out of it. I will re-download it. I will play through it. Speak to me in about a month and a half because it's very hard for me to play anything on my own.
I'll hold
And
you
I
to
will
that.
give
I
you.
do watch your videos. If I don't see you at least streaming it once, then we're gonna have a serious issue.
He's gonna call bullshit on you.
I will go through it again, but I promise you, I will not. I will not fucking use her on Monster Hunter. Period.
Fair.
Okay. All right. Just making that clear.
Right.
I'm making that clear. I will not use that ugly ass bitch on Monster Hunter. I don't want to be that guy, but I so far do not like her. I don't like her game. But
Fair enough.
Man,
Fair enough.
hater.
yeah, I'm a hater. I like your circles on your ceiling.
They
Anyway.
hate us because they ain't us.
Hey, don't judge my ceiling.
Judge my ceiling.
Feeling? All I see is your giant bill of your hat.
God.
It's massive.
Well, this discussion started off toxic as fuck. Hey guys, for the people that are still watching this in the future, minus everyone that's here, I'm giving the game a try. Anything negative I said about it, write off until the next time we talk about it, and then you can hate me. But as of right now, you can't hate me. I'm gonna give the game another try.
There we go.
We can. The game's been out for like a year.
Don't get me started on.
Okay.
Boy, we need to bump up gaming failures.
So, like, I mean, if we're really getting into it, though, like, another one I thought that kind of missed the board, like Persona. Like, nobody really, like, brought up Persona, and I thought that game
Well deserved it.
Yeah, you
It
know,
deserved
it's... But it also is one of those kind of cliquish kind of games where, like, only a certain, you know, player base, like, gets behind it if you're into JRPGs, but I think that game probably deserved it. In a sense, I mean, maybe not as much as Breath of the Wild or, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn, but, you know, it's up there.
I don't know. Persona is arguably the best RPG, like turn-based, I guess, that's not Pokemon, that came out last year, in my opinion. I can't really think of a turn-based RPG that I actually liked more than Persona last year.
I can't speak on that. I never played a Persona game. Oops.
You know, it's fair. There's a lot of people that have not. For a lot of people, Persona 5 is their first. And for some people, 4 was their first. And 4 was their first because they had a PS Vita, not because they had a PS2. Yeah. So, that's okay. But, the thing is, now that I know that...
Japanese art, like, I like the JRPGs and the turn-based battles, you know, battle mechanic and everything, but it's just... I don't know. There was so many other games that were coming out right around that time, and with a lot of people saying that, like, you could literally put, like, 30, 40 hours into it and you're just like barely scratching the surface. That for me, with like going to school and shit, it was kind of an intimidating factor and like the reason why I didn't pick it up, because it was just like, I don't want to spend, like, I like games where I can sink my teeth into them and put a lot of time into them, but if I know right off the bat that like I'm going to be putting like that much time where like, you know, like you can beat Horizon Zero Dawn in 30 hours. If I'm putting that amount of time or more into a game and I'm not even close, like I'm barely out of the freaking tutorial system, because I've heard that a good portion of the start of that game was a tutorial, and it kind of turns me off to it automatically.
Well, now that I know that you haven't played a Persona, I will hurt you if you don't get a PS2 and play Persona 3. Okay,
like he's saying that he's going to play Horizon, so you're almost obligated to play a Persona.
Play Persona 3. If you're gonna do a Persona, then it's your first introduction, do Persona 3. At least it's not as long as 5, and Persona 3 is still pretty damn long, but I at least want you to try it.
I don't have a PlayStation 2 though, and if I'm gonna spend money on something, it's probably gonna be a new game.
I'm gonna cut him.
Fair. It's a fair point. Fair point, I guess. I mean,
I'll think about getting
okay.
Some of us,
get a PS3.
own every system on the planet. Andrew.
Do you have a PS3?
Do I have a PS3? No, I have a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, a Switch, and a 3DS. So, I apologize. But I have heard that the Persona 5 game is actually on sale right now for like
and it's good.
$30, I think.
Get it.
Something like that. So
Get it. It's worth
we'll
it.
See.
Take it from the guy that put 3 hours into it. It is worth it.
Put 3 hours into
It's
it.
because I watched my friend play it. I didn't get around to playing it myself as much as I wanted to. Hey, YouTube ruined gaming for me, okay? So honestly, games that I feel should have been Game of the Year, we definitely named Persona already. Mm-hmm. You sound like you wanted Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah, that was on my list. Like I definitely advocated hard for it.
Now, Fraley Noodle Soup, what is the game that you would have wanted to be Game of the Year? Because what I would have wanted already got it, so I'm good.
I mean, as far as a game that I would want to be Game of the Year, I mean,
do not say Lawbreakers.
If you say Lawbreakers, I'm gonna smack you so hard.
No. Like, don't get me wrong. I still love Lawbreakers. I will still be an advocate for how good that game was. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The fact that, like, they're just, there wasn't... The only thing that killed it was the fact that the player base was just literally nothing.
That is true. The
like
game...
At one point in time...
Guys,
at one point in time, the freaking game had 0 people playing.
Game failures is coming up.
Well, I'm gonna be honest though with Lawbreakers though. It was not that bad when I played it. Okay, it wasn't a bad game when I played it.
It is.
It wasn't bad.
Okay, let's put it this way. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna just go right into this right now, and I'm gonna keep saying this till the day I die or I'm blue in the face. Okay. Lawbreakers had fantastic mechanics. Okay, I thought the having the different roles, having the zero gravity fields, having like the super fast gameplay and everything, all fantastic.
Wait, boy, I gotta say something. Overwatch, no, I can't be Kanye West right now. But was that going to be your Game of the Year though?
What, Lawbreakers? No.
So what was your Game of the Year?
I would say my Game of the Year, the game that I got absolutely just fell in love with, got hooked on right from the get-go, Mario Odyssey.
So it's Mario Odyssey for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that for me, it mixed like new stuff, because there was definitely the new mechanics with him throwing Cappy and everything.
I like that one too.
The fact that there were a lot of gentle nods going back to like the N64 Super Mario 64 version, that for me like hit like a nostalgia nerve almost, and I fell in love with it. I played the shit out of it. I never got tired of it. I never got super pissed off at it. I played the shit out of it. The game was so good, and I'm still not even done. That's the thing, is there's like there's 999 like star things or whatever that you can get.
Wow.
And I've got like 200 maybe, I think.
Well,
but there's like a shit ton left of them. There's so much game left over even after you beat like the main storyline.
So the thing is with me, because I'm a freaking loser, I can say this for any game. All these games are great. Anyway, all these games are great. Now,
you say Horizon.
Now the thing is if Breath of the Wild, I could say this for literally any game. If Breath of the Wild had co-op, I'd be set. I was already happy with it. But just imagine dicking around in that game.
I can't jump on that board,
as two people.
Like I can't. No.
You can't imagine going through that with two people. Just one other person.
No. Yeah, I don't think it has the same feel. I can't look at a open world Zelda game as a co-op game. I just won't. I wouldn't accept it. I couldn't do it.
I would. I'd be very okay with it. Like, okay, if co-op, let's say you beat the game, right, and then Zelda's freed. The second, you should be able to have an open lobby to bring an extra person in to be Zelda, and just do whatever in the world. As two
okay, but I mean, think about it on a publisher like marketing like aspect of that. You have to beat the entire game before you can bring in a co-op player. Nobody wants to beat the entire game before you get couch co-op.
And that's the thing. Nintendo already doesn't tell people about the goodies in their games.
Okay, if that was like an Easter egg, Yes, that would be badass if it was like an Easter egg. But like if you're gonna like announce you have couch co-op and you have to beat the game to get the couch co-op,
Well, I mean, it doesn't
that's
have to
just
be
kind of a bad business practice. I would say if it was an Easter egg to where like you beat the game, like hey, you want a buddy to jump in? Jump in. That would be super cool. I think that would be awesome.
Well, I
But
think it should
I
have
don't
online
think.
play.
Hey, if my screen
Online
goes
play?
dark, I'm doing some stuff on my phone,
I
but
mean,
I'm still
I mean,
talking.
take pointers from the Elder Scrolls. You know, they wanted online play and they had
But
Zelda
Elder Scrolls
jump in.
Online was literally an MMO. It wasn't Elder Scrolls with multiplayer. It was Elder Scrolls MMO.
Well, you just said you wanted
But
Zelda
see,
to have online.
it's,
So do you
but
mean
it's
like
different.
co-op online, or do you mean like multiple people online?
No, just like
What
one
do you
other
mean?
person. Like,
Well, I mean, okay, that would be understandable.
yeah, I just want one other person, just like 2 players. Because the difference, because like Elder Scrolls, they didn't take like, for example, Skyrim, like people have done with Skyrim with a mod to do multiplayer, because it's still Skyrim, you just have people with you. But they decided to make a full blown fucking MMO, and it didn't even feel like Elder Scrolls. It literally just felt like an MMO in medieval
Yeah.
times with Elder Scrolls slapped on it. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's not like a must-have or it's not like a no-go, but if Breath of the Wild had it, because I mean, Breath of the Wild is such a big world, you know, and you should be able to, after beating the game, doing a couple quests, getting all the Korok seeds, blah, 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 what's there to do other than wander, you know? If you could do that with someone...
I think if that was an Easter egg, like, I think if that was, like, that's one of those things, like, you beat the game, like, oh, by the way, you can bring in a buddy now and play together. It gives you more playtime, like, if maybe added in a different part of the story that you didn't necessarily get from the beginning, and you get to, like, go on and do other stuff. That there would be a good marketing ploy for Nintendo, because now when people actually start beating the game, like, oh, by the way, Nintendo hid this stuff. Once you beat the game, you get to play with a buddy. More people are going to go out and buy the game because they know that they can play with a friend. It's just one of those kind of cool things that doesn't happen in video games anymore, where you have hidden stuff in video games that they used to put back in the day that you just don't get now. I think that would be super cool. I mean, even if you did co-op from the get-go, if you went off with that, I think that would be cool too. But then everybody would be playing co-op, and then I think Zelda would lose kind of that single-player RPG factor that it's kind of been known for. So it's one of those things like, do you have co-op and just be a co-op game, or are you just single-player only? I don't know. There's the balance there is kind of...
That's why I would rather it be like unlockable, where you'll have to go through like, let's say it's not in the open world, because Nintendo's done this a lot. If they didn't make it in the open world, if they did like they did with the past games, and they had like the little master mode where you only go through dungeons, they could do that. Like you only go through dungeons and it's 2-player. Then they just set up procedurally generated dungeons where you can play infinitely, and it's just a separate mode. That's still something they can do, you know?
Yeah.
But because that's the same deal with Mario Odyssey. Like, I don't want co-op for Mario Odyssey. No. What I'm thinking more of is kind of like what I thought they were doing, because I like freaking... I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. But when they showed off that balloon thing, and they showed off the hide-and-go-seek type game mode with the balloons, they started off making it sound like, hey, now the game has online multiplayer for this specific mode. But no, you just take a balloon, you hide it, and then someone else has to find the balloon that's not even in your game. So that feels like a miss, in my opinion. Like, if they had some type of, like... I don't know. What were you going to say?
Me? No, I was just listening.
Nothing! No. So, because, like, when they showed the balloon thing, they're like, yeah, you hide the balloon, and someone else goes and finds it. I'm like, that's sick! That would be a fun reason to pick up the game again and play it online with somebody. Then they're like, yeah, leaderboards. Someone has to find that randomly while they're playing the game. It's like, no, stop it. That's dumb.
Yeah.
I thought that was dumb. Like, you did a good thing with Mario 64 DS, man, with that multiplayer. Bring it to consoles. Even if it was bad, just bring it to consoles. I enjoyed that, okay? I thought it was fun, even though it may have been bad, but... You know, freaking 12, 13-year-old me thought it was the coolest thing ever. So, there you go. I can be Wario and Wario all over somebody's face. It's the greatest.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy. Alright, well, let's move on from the game of the year.
Jeez, that was the only game of the year? Okay.
That's what I said. I'm like, when you sent me those topics, I was like, dude... How long do you want this podcast to be? Because we're gonna not only like be talking, you know, about what we think it is, but then we're gonna go into like some massive detail.
Yeah, we just went from game of the year to why Zelda should be co-op. So there you go.
Hey, I mean, hey, it was still game of the year though, right? Like,
yeah, I can't argue there. Can't argue there.
I mean...
We had some fair voting, and it clearly was a winner. So,
all right, so
upcoming games. What do we got?
Well, upcoming and too many fucking games. So we starting January to April. I literally just had to count that for some reason. January to April is bombarded with games, and I is not happy about this development.
I mean, my wallet's not happy. I'm happy, but my wallet is definitely not happy.
But see, it leaves me confused for the rest of the year, because it's like, if everything came out at the exact same time, basically within the 4 months, what is the rest of the year? Like, it's not like E3 is going to happen and they're just going to like show us a bunch of shit that's coming out now.
I mean, this is pretty typical for the games industry, though, because the first 4 months of the year, you're going to have, like, coming right out of holiday season, you're going to have, you know, the big games coming out through February up to, like, March, April. Then you kind of have a little bit of a dead period, and then you go into E3 where they have all the announcements, and then some stuff comes out right there.
But did you...
in summer, and then you have the stuff coming out, you know, in November.
But are you considering how the heavy hitters that are... Okay, Dragon Ball just came out. Monster Hunter came out literally the exact same day as Dragon Ball, which is already appalling to me. But then up next, because you know what's coming up next, right? It was Dragon Ball, Monster Hunter the same day. On the 30th, this month, in just a couple of days, that's Tuesday, I believe, Dissidia is supposed to be out. After Dissidia, the new UFC game is 2 days later. Shadow of Colossus is 4 days later.
Then we have Kingdom Come Deliverance coming out in February.
Yeah, and then, and that's the 13th. And then there's Secret of Mana on the 15th, right after that. The new Bayonetta 2 and 1 together for the Switch, a couple days after that. And then EA's Fee, a couple days after that. We won't talk about Metal Gear Survive. There's Moss. There's Moss for anybody that has PS4 Pro. Wants this game. If you have PS4 Pro and you've seen it, most people want it. I don't know about anyone here, but that's another one. There's Kirby Star Allies a week after that. Sea of Thieves 3 days after that. A Way Out 4 days after that. Ni no Kuni 3 days after that. Pokemon the same day. Far Cry 5 3 days after Pokemon. Crackdown 3 is supposed to be 2 days after that. God of War is the next month. And that's not even...
State of Decay 2?
Yeah, that's not even the full list.
Spring. Then you have Detroit Become Human. That's coming out in spring as well. Like
there's I can't wait.
Everything.
Everything.
But to be honest with you, here's the reason why, okay? Because November has been known to be the biggest heavy hitter. Like, October, November, December, like, that's when those huge ones were coming out. If you're a developer, you're not going to drop your game around that time because of the fact you know that it's going to get squashed by some of these other big ones, like the new Battlefield game that's probably going to be coming out this year. You got, Call of Duty. You know, new Call
of Duty, which will be shit, but everyone will buy it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which we're probably going to hear about that, you know, here in the next couple months. You're probably going to hear something, you know, like Halo 5 came out in October.
Dude, don't even start on it. That's next segment. Next segment.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
so we'll
that's the reason why they, you know, and I'm saying just like Halo 5. Like Halo 5 dropped, you know, like 2 years ago or whatever, back on October like 27th or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've got all these ginormous AAA titles that are dropping. Nobody's gonna drop their game around that time. They're just not. So when's the other time you're going to start dropping them? Well, let's do it after that time. People have put, you know, 2-3 months or whatever into it. We'll drop it in the spring or summer when we know not that many games are coming out. A lot of these developers have all had the same idea, and now it's like your end of winter going into spring and dripping into summer and everything. That's starting to be like the new November.
Well, I mean, even last year, I mean, if you look at it, some of our biggest Game of the Year titles came out in spring of 2018. You had Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You had Horizon Zero Dawn. All those games came out early 2017. So that's more of like the new release period. You're starting to get early in the year and then late in the year, and the middle is just kind of filled with absolute nothing except for hype. And that's when you get conferences. So, I mean, this is like kind of the new norm for me. I expect this to keep going for the next couple of years. You're going to start seeing games come out more through January up to March. You're going to see a dead period, and then you're going to see it pick back up when it goes into holiday season because everyone has a bunch of money. So tax season, where everyone's getting their tax returns back and have money in their pockets to go buy stuff, and then holiday times when people are willing to go buy stuff. Those are the two biggest seasons of the year.
Here's what I think it's going to end up coming down to eventually here is I think you're going to end up getting it to a point where there is not, because video games are so easy now for people to get their hands on making. Like, you look at Stardew Valley, one dude made that entire game, and that game was a huge success.
No. That game is a huge success.
Well, the only reason why I say was because it has already come out like a long time ago for people.
Well, say that to Nintendo fans.
I bought the damn game. I played it.
#1 in the Switch marketplace.
So, but I mean, that's what I'm saying is like it's so easy to make your own games nowadays that I guarantee it's going to get to a point where the entire fucking year is just going to be games that are coming out. They're going to be heavy hitters.
Yeah,
you're not going to have any downtime.
That's true, and it doesn't seem like we're going to have much
saying.
Downtime even now, because we've been slammed like just 4 months. I am just so words like
words. I mean, it really is a lot. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of good games that are coming out. Like I'm playing, like my hands are so deep into Fighter Z right now, I can't even touch anything else. But Monster Hunter's out, and I really want to, play that. And then I have Kingdom Come Deliverance coming out in a couple weeks. It's just
I'll
like,
be getting.
where do you find time to play all these games? And it puts a lot on people to decide which one to buy too.
Well, the first thing you have to do to be able to play all these games, and this is for everybody that's here, if you want to play all these games, thing number 1, do not have a YouTube channel. You'll never touch them. That's thing number 1.
Or review games. Games. You definitely won't touch them either.
Yeah. Thing number 2, do not be a game reviewer. Do not go to E3. Just be a regular Joe and have a regular job, and you'll be able to do it. I promise you. Because it's not working.
Not even then, though. Like, let's put it this way, because there's so many games coming out, there's no way you can touch them all. Like, because me and my buddy do the console sharing, we pretty much bought every single game that came out in, like, the November time. I think I maybe played, like, a handful of games on, like, Battlefront 2. That was it, because I didn't have time to play it. I played a little bit of Call of Duty just to kind of sink my teeth into it. I haven't touched it since. There's no reason to, because it's just these games just keep coming out and out and out, and they're ones that I'm like, I kind of want to try these out, and yeah, you just get overwhelmed.
So do you think it'd be easier if we were, especially you, for about 20 years?
What the hell does that mean?
If you were a teenager and or kid again, where you couldn't buy all the fucking games you wanted and you had to wait till Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah, because you're getting that 1 or 2 game that you're telling your parents are like, hey, I want this game. That's the one you're going to play for the next, couple months. Whereas when, hey, I have this game coming out, my assignment's due in this many weeks, I have to cram in this many hours to get it done. It's way different. When you have a game that you want to pour your heart and soul to, whereas a game that you don't want to, but you have to get it done, it's a completely different experience. So, I mean, I definitely would go back to being, a teenager playing Gears of War 1, and that's all I played all day, every day for like 2 years. Yeah, I'd take that in a heartbeat.
Okay, well, no, fair enough. Is there anything you want to add for the fact that there's so much shit coming out?
I don't know. Can I win the lottery? Is that a?
Actually, you can.
Okay?
You can pass go and collect
$1
million.
401ks. You don't need to retire. You need to play these games. Dip into that 401k, baby.
IRA gone.
Oh my
IRA
god.
Gone. Oh, you got a life savings? Just let me buy every video game coming out. I'm sure they'll be good, like Call of Duty World War II.
Oh my god.
Hey, guess what? Banks have tons of money.
Moving on.
Moving on.
All right, game
Just
failures.
as a disclaimer, don't rob a bank. Save your money.
Oh my god.
Okay, move on.
Gaming failures.
Gaming failures. Now we
boy.
have gotten to gaming failures. So before you already know what the first thing I'm going to say is. So
Oh, yeah.
Roger,
No,
I'm going to
no.
let you take this first.
Roger.
Go ahead
Rubber
and
ducky.
defend
Bounce pad.
Lawbreakers.
Okay. Lawbreakers didn't fail just yet. There were things that it failed at,
my God.
but the game in and of itself has not failed. Yet.
All I can think of is that guy who's like, water in and of itself is not wet. Have you seen that?
When you're in water, you're not wet. Because everything is the same consistency around you. When you get out of water and you're exposed to the atmosphere, then you're wet.
Therefore, wet.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Part of me wants to agree with that guy. I know that was completely random, but
I'm sorry, David. Continue.
No, okay. Hold on. So, because you guys are going to get me going on my high horse here. Okay.
On your bounce pad.
Bounce pad.
Bounce pad. Okay. I love Lawbreakers. I'm pretty sure I've
That's
made that
obvious.
very well known across the land, far and wide. All right. I will advocate for that game till I die. That game, yes, and I'm sure the people over at Boss Key know. Did they market the game the best way that they could? Probably not. Okay, there was a lot of things that they maybe should have done differently to put it towards a different audience. Okay, but you know, and outside of that, outside of their marketing, that was really the only thing that caused that game to tank. And here's my reason why. Again, if you look at like the shooting mechanics were on point. I would rather play that than any Call of Duty game. I had way more fun with it. Okay. The roles, I loved the different characters that you could play and the different, you know, like you had like the assassin that was like floating around on some, you know, electronic like laser whip that she would, you know, throw on, and you could either do you could either hack and slash with like the little arc blades, or you had like the shotgun. That was fantastic. But then you could switch over to somebody else who had rocket launchers, and the fact that you could propel yourself with the rocket launcher, like freaking fantastic. The fact that, you know, and like their maps were cool. I thoroughly enjoyed their maps. And the thing that I absolutely loved the most was they were very transparent. Not many developers, AAA, indie, whatever you want to call it, have I ever known that sits back and goes, okay, we have literally heard you. This is the stuff that you have came over to us and said, hey, you know, the spread on her shotgun is, you know, too straightforward. Open it up a little bit so that it's not like, you know, 9 bullets going straight into you and it has a 100% chance pretty much of hitting you. You know, we're gonna fix that. They came back and they were telling you guys what they were working on, what they're going to be adding to the game, and they were just super duper cool with the community. You don't see people with Call of Duty doing that. Activision isn't filming like little video clips here and there saying, oh yeah, this is what we're working on in Call of Duty, you know, this is what's coming out next. Outside of like the DLC that they obviously, you know, you've got 4 DLC that comes out for every Call of Duty every year. You don't see like inside like what these guys are actually doing. You know, and that was the one cool thing that I really liked about Boss Key, is that they were just super upfront, honest, and transparent about almost everything that they were doing.
Now, do you think it would save the game if it went free to play?
No, absolutely not.
Here's the reason why. Okay, and Devin, I'll let you jump in here and say your bit, because I have a feeling you've got stuff to say on this.
Well, no, I just don't think free-to-play saves at this point. I mean, going to a free-to-play system, I mean, they had their free-to-play weekend, and the game increased by a couple hundred players.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, the game has this stigma around it where it's a badly developed game. And, you know, I love Cliffy B to death. You know, I'm an old Gears 1 vet. You know, that's me. Like, he literally transformed the way I look at esports. And if we're being honest, he's kind of an asshole. And he's got that stigma around him, and that that kind of incorporated into Lawbreakers, and then you have people who see the player base and they see what's going on with it. They're, you know, kind of evaluating it and looking at, okay, this is a bad game. I've never played the game, but I'm gonna hop on that bandwagon and say that this game is a bad game when they've never even put any time into it. So you have that going on with it. When you move to a free-to-play game, people aren't going to want to pick up a game that people are saying is a bad game. Like, it doesn't matter how you look at it. No one's going to go in and pick up this free-to-play game and buy cosmetics, because at the end of the day, they have to make money to keep the game running. So if no one's going to pay for cosmetics, free-to-play isn't going to fix anything. The biggest issue they have, one, was their marketing was absolute garbage. When you're trying to give away product, like free computers, if you go and play their beta instead of actually using that money to promote your product, there's a huge problem there. You know, giving away free stuff is cool, but why not spend that money and go buy some advertisements on TV or actually YouTube and promote a game that's actually well thought of, instead of going on Twitter when you have, you know, 1,000 followers to try to promote a game by giving away a new gaming computer to maybe a couple hundred people. It just doesn't make sense in the business world, and that's completely why the game failed.
Yeah.
My thing. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with him.
My reason why I don't think that them going free to play would help the game out any is, like, you had 80,000 people buy the game, and they're not playing it. Why would you go free to play thinking that you're going to get more people playing it if you make it free? Like, the people that spent the money on it don't want to play the game. If the people that spent the money on it don't want to play, the people that didn't spend the money are looking at that going, well, if they're not playing it and they spent the money, why would I want to even play it just for free?
Yep.
You know? And it's also, and I personally feel too, and correct me if I'm wrong, if a game developer creates a game and they're like, okay, we're charging, you know, $60 for it or whatever, and it starts tanking, so they're like, okay, well, you know, maybe we'll bring in more people and we'll drop it to 50% off, which is what Boss Key has done a number of times with their game, and still nobody's buying it, and then all of a sudden you go free to play. Isn't that kind of like giving up on your game in a weird way?
Yeah, it is.
Because then you're pretty much saying, like, okay, we know for a fact we're not getting any more funds from people buying this game.
But wait,
They're
that's
not
exactly
buying
what
any
happened to that one game, though.
What one game? Oh, Battleborn?
No. All right.
Any free-to-play game ever?
I liked Battleborn. Go fuck yourself.
No, but that's the thing. Battleborn was really good, too.
It was
like,
fantastic.
Yeah, like, but
the story,
for whatever reason, nobody wanted it. And I feel really bad for Gearbox, because that was like one of their cool games that they wanted to do, and I'm like, you know what, go for it. And then it just tanked, and I didn't hear anything else about it.
The story mode for Battleborn was really good.
You also have to realize, though, that so many people play certain genres of games, and when you have games like PUBG, and when you have games like Overwatch, if you're thinking of a lifespan of a video game is still in its infancy, you know, Overwatch is just barely over a year old, and people are addicted to it. They're addicted to the cosmetics. They're addicted to the competitive gameplay it's coming out with, the esports league that they're coming out with. Why would they drop a game that they love to pick up a game that's somewhat kind of similar? I mean, I know they have their differences, but why would you drop a successful game to pick up a game you know nothing about and spend $30 on them when you've already spent a couple $100 on, you know, microtransactions with a game that you're in love with? It just doesn't make sense.
And that's why it did bad, because it came out kind of. Do not get triggered, Fraley. I'm not gonna call it I'm not gonna call it an Overwatch clone, but on the surface, just on the surface, if you had never played it and you were to look at this game, that is the first thing some people thought, because that's the first thing I thought even when I saw it. Now, with that being said,
but the thing is it's not the first game that has started off doing, you know, where you start off in like one point and you move forward and you can pick different characters that have different abilities.
But it is the first game to have a lot of attention on itself during E3 for everyone to see it while it's broadcasting.
Yep. I mean,
and that was its problem, except for coming out like kind of with decent marketing, kind of in a, I guess, a gray area, kind of just mixed in with a bunch of games. You see, oh, there's I don't know, fucking deer hunting coming out. There's this coming out. There's this coming out. A bunch of useless games, and then Lawbreakers. If someone sees its logo, they're going to be more interested in whatever that is. But since everything was thrown on the table, like immediately, people just immediately were turned off of the fact that it kind of looked like Overwatch. And then when I first played it, I wasn't really too into it, since I went in with the mindset that this game is an Overwatch clone. And that's what happened with Battleborn. Because people went into Battleborn thinking it was an Overwatch clone when they don't even play anywhere near the same. Like, period. It's more...
And that's what I kept trying to tell people, too, because I'm like, I've put a ton of time into Lawbreakers. This is not like Overwatch at all. Like Overwatch, if you were to play as, like, Mercy, okay, you're not dealing damage. You're not trying to. Your entire purpose while being that character is to heal your teammates and or boost their ability to kill players. You are a support role. If you were to play the battle medic, whose technically main focus is to heal people on your team, but you also have a grenade launcher where you can lob these grenades and deal a decent amount of damage. And if you know how to use them right, you can take out any other character or any other role in the game. You just have to be good enough with it. And that's what I liked about Lawbreakers, was that, yeah, like, I can have these, this main role, or this main objective, which is to heal my characters, but at the same time, I can sit back and still get kills and still feel like I'm doing something else other than just healing.
Okay, here's my rebuttal, though. What is different from playing Lucio, where I have, the same exact capabilities, where if I'm playing Lucio, I can get kills. My main objective is to heal my teammates, but if you come at me, I guarantee you I could probably get a pretty good chance to fuck you up. So it's...
Yeah, but you have to figure in the fact, too...
For its gameplay, it's somewhat similar in that stance, so...
Yeah, but you have to also figure in the fact, too, Overwatch has got a shit ton more characters than Lawbreakers does.
Well, yeah, because, Overwatch is an FPS MOBA. That's what it is. It's a first-person mobile arena. It's what it is, a battle arena. So, if I would say it's different on the stance that Lawbreakers is a first-person shooter, and I think that Overwatch is a FPS MOBA. That's what I think it is. You can argue different, but they both have different takes on it. But when you package it all up, like Andres was saying, Lawbreakers first came off like Overwatch, and that's what killed it.
Well, not only did it, maybe come off like that, but again, it was still a case of a lot of people were making that comparison, and I was trying to be an advocate, telling people, like, listen, not like Overwatch, play it for a couple hours and you'll see, it's way more of just like for lack of a better word, like a faster paced, like, Siege in a weird way, just because it was like, yeah, you had like these different roles, but it was more focused on the first person shooter aspect of it than it was, being a main support class or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, who the fuck's drawing like blue mustaches or something on me?
I don't know.
Because I've got somebody that's watching this and they're like, yeah, they drew a blue hat and a mustache on you, and I'm like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
Either way. Okay, on to the next failure. Lawbreakers. It's not done yet, but we'll see here the next near future. I hope it doesn't die, but we'll find out.
Well, I already mentioned Battleborn, so that one's already done.
How about Anthem getting delayed?
Boy,
like, that's a shocker right there for you.
Well,
Not
it's
really.
EA. I'm not really shocked.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, well, go ahead. Somebody else go, because I'm on my high horse right now, man. I'm ready to argue about everything.
No, I don't understand why a publisher would put these constraints on a developer when the developer knows that there is no feasible possible way that they're going to get the game out when they say they do. And then they show up at E3 and they're trying to get all this hype, and Microsoft's like, hey, announce it during our conference to get a little bit of hype behind it. They announce it and they're like, okay, it's coming out, spring, fall 2018. Okay, no, we're going to push it back to 2019. Cool, make the game right, but don't announce shit. I don't think you should announce a video game unless it's coming out from 6 to 12 months. Because then, one, we don't know if the game's coming out. There's too many games that have not come out. You're looking at Fable Legends. You're looking at Scalebound. You're looking at, a bunch of different games that Microsoft has canceled, and then other games.
So what I thought when I first saw Anthem? It doesn't look like something that would come out.
Yeah, it's way too ambitious.
Yeah, it looked like it had too much writing on it. It looks way too unreal. It literally mixes every perfect game into one game, and then all of it was staged at the same time. Like, they're talking and their interactions and the route that he flew. They had specific things that they were going to do in that. It was obviously... I don't know. When I first saw it, I didn't believe anything about the game, so I didn't allow myself to get hype. I want it, but...
That E3 conference, like, you know, like when they were showing like the players interacting with each other. I mean, yeah, every demo is staged to a point, but that one was just like so, like you were saying, just so unbelievable. Like, there's no way this game's coming out in the next year. Like, it's not going to happen. So, like, and they put these. I mean, EA is notorious for doing this kind of stuff, and you know, if you look at back, like what the guy who Kotaku was talking to. The developer of the game, they're like, we knew for a fact we weren't going to get this done. Like, this was inevitable. So I don't even know why they announced it in the first place. That should say everything about the games industry, and they should probably start changing that moving forward.
But and I agree with you, because here's what I wish every game developer would do. Okay, you look, what was it, last year, maybe 2 years ago or whatever, Fallout 4 didn't get announced till E3. There was some rumors and shit going on before that, but they didn't really announce it till E3, and then they were like, oh yeah, and it's coming out in like 3 months. And everybody was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, nobody announces a game at E3 and then says it's coming out in the next like 3-4 months or whatever. That, like, everybody lost their fucking mind.
Nintendo does that.
Okay,
well, no,
but
I mean,
also...
Bethesda's been doing that since Skyrim, if we're being honest, though. Every game that they announced at E3 has come out within the next 6 months. So usually if they announce at E3, they release it in November.
6 months, though. I mean, you could even say that necessarily about Call of Duty, because they don't really announce that till right around...
every year? It doesn't matter.
But I mean, just saying, you know what I mean, though. Like, they announced that they're working on their game, and then all of a sudden, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months out, they release it. But... like, Fallout, like, that was, like, and to be honest, too, like, Nintendo, they don't really have an E3 presence, really.
They have, like, to do it on their own. I mean, they have Treehouse.
Exactly. And I hey, you know what? Do what you want to do, Nintendo. You obviously have the fastest selling console in the United States ever, so you do what you do. So, but it was like, yeah, like, Fallout 4 got announced, and everybody's just like, what the fuck? Like, this is awesome. And... nobody else does that. They announce these games at, PAX or, Gamescom or whatever, E3 even. And then they're like, yeah, well, we're going to show this off, but it's not going to come out for like another 2-3 years. That's nice. That's fun. But I don't know. It's like, just don't do it, because you're building up hype, and then we got to wait 3-4 years before you even actually bring the game out, Like, they showed off freaking The Last of Us 2. Okay, well,
that's what I don't like about Sony conferences at all. And people, for some reason, love to obsess over Sony. When it's like, every game they showed never comes out right away. Never comes out within the year.
I completely agree with you.
It's only Sony that does it. Well, Microsoft recently, I guess, because Microsoft will tell you it's coming, and then they'll move the date. But at least, so Microsoft's lying to you, but Sony will only show you stuff that's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's like I said, like, they showed off The Last of Us 2. Well, it's Naughty Dog. You're not going to give them, like, a huge, like, a short timeline, like, oh, you got to finish that game in the next 2 years, like, it's their first party studio. They know that what they make is solid gold. It could very well be console selling, They're going to give them all the time in the world to work on it and make the game that they need to. So why you showed that off, that's at least 3-4 years out before that game even gets released.
Yeah.
I really, really do wish that all of these developers, like, here's what I wish. You go to E3, you show off a game, at that point, that game needs to be literally anywhere between 3 to 6 months out from release. If it is not, you do not show it. Plain and simple. I don't care if E3 is shortened. If it's a one-day conference, I don't fucking care. Quit showing off these games that aren't going to be coming out for another 4 fucking years.
Yeah, and Sony has that bad. They're really the main ones that need to be yelled at. because Sony always shows
Yeah.
off stuff that's not anywhere near close to release.
Yeah.
And see, I can easily
Death
say
Stranding.
Sony is the only ones that do it. I can easily say that. But see,
Mm.
Microsoft, that's why I wasn't done. Microsoft, they don't do it per se, but they think they're slick. Microsoft will be
cancels
like
games.
this. Yeah, Microsoft will be like, this game is coming out in the next whatever time. And then a little bit later, hey, this game's canceled, or hey, this game's release date is pushed back, making everything they showed at E3 fucking pointless. As far as Nintendo is concerned, they're in a league of their own because they tend to bring shit out like really, really close to E3, weirdly enough. Other than Breath of the Wild. It was like the only game they kept flaunting for multiple years. Or they'll show you that the fact that a game is in development, because unlike Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo does have that hype train. They don't have to let you know. They literally just came out and said, we're making a mainline Pokemon, we're making a Metroid. And then that's where they end. And you can just let that sit on your head for a few years until they decide to show gameplay. But
Yeah.
Microsoft will say, this is all the shit that we have. Look forward to it between now and January next year. And you're like, oh, sweet. That's not very much time. And then as the year goes on, they're like, we're moving this back, we're moving this back, we're canceling this. But Sony will show you a bunch of stuff, even though all of it will come out. It never comes out within the first 2 or 3 years, ever. Sony has showed every game that they showed last E3, they showed 2 E3s ago as well. So, normally when I watch a Sony press conference, I'm typically catastrophically underwhelmed.
Well,
Just
I mean,
because
like,
I already know it's not coming anytime soon.
well, I mean, at what point do people start like taking account on what's coming out in press conferences and just start ignoring it? You know, when you look at like E3 over the past years, like it's been decreasing in size for like the past 3 or 4. There's a reason that they sold a bunch of tickets to actual, you know, non-media members last year. It's because that the amount of people that are actually going to E3 and exhibiting at E3 are decreasing and decreasing.
Mhm.
So people are pretty much fed up with, you know, hey, we're showing this game, but it's never going to come out. So, like, if you're going to show something, you know, at least have it almost done. If everyone took Bethesda's route of doing it, I think the game industry would be much more well-rounded. But, you know, it also, you have to take into consideration how the developers are doing. Because, yes, they may have a game, but they're working on this game for 4 or 5 years. It's not feasible for them to come out and announce the next Fable a year after they just, you know, everyone got done playing the entire content for the new Fable, you know?
Yeah,
So like
'cause-
everyone wants the game as soon as they get done beating the game, but they have to realize that these guys have been working their ass off for multiple years.
Yeah, and with that being said, one thing that people don't understand though is that most game developers, or pretty much all companies, are trying to cater to their fans and investors at the exact same time. More investors than fans, but you know, you can't really blame them in that regard. So when a game is shown off at E3, and then what Microsoft does is the whole pushing it back or canceling, I'm pretty sure that hurts them really badly with investors. Like,
Well, yeah.
it has to. So I don't know what makes Microsoft think it's literally fucking acceptable for a second year in a row of a drought, like a huge drought, like Wii U style drought. Fuck, at least Nintendo tried to put something out, but
Well, but here's the thing too is, and Sony's gotten I guess a little bit better as far as that goes, but like Microsoft, I think it was like last year, like they had really like outside of, you know, the annualized Forza games, they didn't really have any first party games that like released.
nope.
You know, they were literally focused on all of their indie titles like Cuphead and everything else. They're like, oh, like these are gonna kind of help, you know, push sales. 2018 is going to be their year where they're going to have to drop some more stuff. It's first party.
And yeah, and all we know
Plain and
about
simple.
so far is, well, Major Nelson
new
said
Forza.
something about Gears of War. Said something. We don't know if that's gonna come to fluidity,
Well,
but if I
You
don't even
know
if I said
they're
that
working
right.
on a Gears 5.
Oh,
Well-
dude, don't even. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
To be fair,
Next
fair,
topic, next topic, next topic. That's next topic.
but
Don't get
okay,
me
we'll leave
started
it. We'll
on
leave
that,
it.
Like,
We'll leave it. But you know, the next topic, that is all E3 stuff, isn't it? We'll leave that alone. Now, all right. Battlefront. I will say that game became a failure of its own for now, because they're trying to figure that one out. What are you guys' thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront at the moment in its current state?
I deleted it.
2?
Fuck. Yeah.
Two.
New
I
two.
consider. I consider. You know, I like my heart. My heart goes out to the guys who actually developed the game because I feel like they made an actual quality game, and I feel like the EA pulled their classic bullshit and
Mhm.
they kind of ruined the lives of those guys who spent the last 4 to 5 years making that shit. Because literally, I think the game is sound, but with all the stuff surrounding it, I think it'll never be able to get past you know, that initial first month of what it went through. So.
Hey, okay. Well, Battlefront. So it's been stated that Battlefront 2, any failure that it had or could have had or has had no effect on EA at all negatively, apparently.
Oh, you look at their stock.
Which is something something that came out and was said yesterday. Apparently, it had no. They apparently have had like a rise in just about everything. So they're going to try to find a way to re-implement Star Wars, some of the paid stuff back into the game. And with that being said, they plan on changing the leveling system or something, or the class system. They plan on changing something, and they plan on adding money back to it, because apparently, after that plummet, it just skyrocketed again, which makes absolutely no sense to me. It's something I read earlier. I personally think it's a fun game. After they took all that stuff out of it, after they got all the bullshit out of the way, the game is actually really fun. Now,
Yeah.
from what I was seeing from the loot boxes, you might have to explain this to me. I looked through all that loot box information. I turned the game on, looked at the fact that you can buy some stuff. What exactly, other than like how long it took to get Darth Vader and other characters, what exactly was wrong with the game? Because I don't think I fully understand.
Well, I mean, the biggest issue is you're looking at how quickly that people were. If you bought the loot boxes, how fast that the people were able to get an upper hand on other people in online matchmaking. So these guys were able to, you know, buy a bunch of loot boxes, get the items that they can upgrade their ships or their characters, and then the ones that they didn't need could sell and then use that to buy more stuff to upgrade those. They could get well far ahead of the game in front of people who were not spending money. So it becomes that pay to play aspect. That was the major problem with the game. And yes, given the time that it took to get the other main characters, that wasn't that big of a deal. Where a big issue is when you're playing an online competitive game where you can get an upper hand by spending money, that's what
And that is a problem, yeah. That is a huge fucking problem. Okay.
Well, and not to mention, too, I know a lot of people were super pissed off about the fact that it's like some of the most iconic characters in Star Wars, you know, throughout the entire, you know, almost now 3 trilogies. Have you, you know, you're going to put them behind this giant paywall. Like, there was, I don't even know, I think it was like on Reddit where some dude actually sat back and like calculated before they turned the microtransactions off.
I know what you're talking about.
They sat back and, he sat back and calculated like how many hours and how much money and everything you were actually going to have to. Dude, it was like in the thousands of dollars like that you were going to have to sink to get like everything that you wanted in the game. And like tons of hours, and it was like it was going to take you like 40 hours to unlock Darth Vader. Are you fucking kidding me?
And EA came out and said, "Well, you're not supposed to be able to earn everything in the game."
And
it was like, wait, what?
That's what EA came out and said. You're not supposed to be able to earn everything.
Yeah, and it was just, I don't know, man. I mean, I understand why people got fired up about it. And at first, I didn't even want the game. I was like, I'm not gonna buy the game. I don't have any need for it. And then my buddy picked it up, and I'm like, all right, like let's see what kind of fuckfest this is gonna be. And
yeah, I debated very hard, and I got it, and I gotta say I don't regret it. I do enjoy the game, especially Heroes versus Villains mode. It's like the best mode in the game, in my opinion.
It's decent, but I mean, I'll be honest, it's just, it didn't stick with me as much as I thought it was going to. I think playing their game, I think the spawns are broken, because I'm sick and tired of every time I turn around, I literally have some dude in my face. And I'm like, all right, well, you literally spawned right behind me. Of course I'm not going to fucking have a chance to kill you. You know, there's still a couple things that they need to work on with that game. But, I mean, if I had to pick a first-person shooter game that I was going to play, it wouldn't be in the top 5.
Well, you've got to admit, at least it wasn't a Mighty Number 9.
Oh, dear God, no. I heard that game was very well hyped, and then it just fell on its face.
Yeah. On it fell on its face on Bedrock.
Yeah.
You know, I personally like seeing people drinking water behind me. It's hilarious. Anyway,
last failure I want to bring up: Paragon closing their servers on April 26th.
Yeah, the game didn't last.
I mean, do
reason.
either of you have any experience with the game at all?
Yeah, I own it. Yeah, I bought it when I actually legitimately bought it before it was free to play for everybody. It was one of the the whole support the game and play it early.
Well, yeah, you get 100% refund back.
Really?
Yeah. If you go online, you can go get a 100% refund if you get paid any money for it.
Let me click on some stuff.
No, I mean, the main reason they're closing the game down, honestly, is because one, Fortnite is doing so well, and then V.42 was so garbage that they lost half their player base. So I mean, I completely understand that, but I feel really bad for the guys because it had that competitive aspect to it. I play a ton of League of Legends and MOBA type games, so I got super addicted to Paragon, and I was on the competitive, aspect of that as well. I was playing in some tournaments with the team we had. And when they came out with V.42, I was just like, what the absolute shit did they do to this game? And literally everyone I knew that was playing the game quit. Stopped playing. And then Fortnite came out, and GG. Done deal.
Fortnite.
Oh, I'm doing this refund thing right now.
no kidding, man. I will say
boom, right here. Refund, boy. I'm going to handle that after we're done.
Epic Games is one of my favorite publishers. One, because they made the greatest game known to man called Gears of War, the original. Two, because they're super transparent about everything they do. And also, they give you a refund on a game that a lot of people spend a ton of money on that's been out for a couple years. And because they're shutting down the servers without giving any sort of forewarning, they're giving everyone every bit of money you've ever spent on the game back. And that has a lot to say about the publisher. Yeah, it sucks for shutting it down, but kudos for Epic for doing that.
Let's be honest, though. The only reason that they're willing to give back and do, total refund for all of that is because they're making a fuck ton of money off of Steam, and they can afford to do that. Why do you think they don't really make video games anymore? Fortnite and Paragon were, their first ones in, the longest time. They have no need...
What do you mean?
Huh?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean?
I'm confused. With Epic and Steam.
Epic has Steam, and they're making a shit ton of money.
No. Valve owns Steam.
Yeah, that's
but Valve's part of Epic, aren't they?
Is it?
I don't know. That's actually good. That's not a question for me.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a question for me. I actually couldn't tell you.
No,
I could be wrong.
No, I mean, Gabe Newell owns Valve, and Valve is not owned by Epic. Epic Games is its own entity, so.
Oh.
That's why I was confused. I was like, wait.
Okay,
I was like, what?
But even at that though, Epic makes a shit ton of money still off of the fact that they are getting royalties off of anybody that uses Unreal 4.
That too, yes, that is true. That is completely true. Well, they even said in their statement that the one reason they're shutting it down is because they're having so much success with Fortnite. It's hard not to switch all their assets to Fortnite. I mean, people are spending a ton of money on cosmetics for a free-to-play game. Why not just shift all your focus onto that when Paragon's been kind of shifty over the past year and you lost half the player base? So, makes sense.
He's not lying. But Paragon, see, I don't know. I mean, they couldn't. You know what would save Paragon? You know what would save it? Nintendo Switch.
Free to play.
Yeah, get real, dude. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but the Nintendo Switch is great and all, but there's certain games that just do not belong on a Switch, and that would be one of them. It's you can't. You can't. Oh. No, I'm sorry. You can't play.
What's another one?
No, a competitive MOBA on a Nintendo Switch, a Nintendo Switch. I couldn't see it.
Well, I mean, there's rumors that they might be bringing Overwatch
Fortnite.
to the Switch.
Yeah, in Fortnite.
Overwatch. Okay, League of Legends, Paragon, Overwatch, completely different world. Okay, you couldn't bring League of Legends to the Nintendo.
You could bring Paragon to the Switch if you really wanted to.
Okay,
Like
making decks and looking. No, they're the taking a look at the map. No, it's not feasible. Like it's really.
You can do it on a controller though.
Ask anyone who's in competitive MOBAs; they will agree
Oh
completely.
yeah, no,
that it does
because
not.
it's a bunch of PC guys. That's why.
Oh yeah, because that's the premier. Premier platform.
Oh, and I'm not knocking on that at all. I'm just saying like you can play it on an Xbox, you know, and you can play it on a PS4. You could bring it to the Switch if you really wanted to. Obviously they're not going to because the servers are getting shut down in April. But you know, if you really wanted to, you could bring it to the Switch and it would work.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I wouldn't play it, but I guess so.
Oh no, I wouldn't either. I'm just saying, like, if they really wanted to, they could. I advise against it.
Well, you know a game that failed epically right out of the gate and is still a failure, hilariously enough. And this is what'd you say? You say Bob Ross teaches paint?
God damn it! Quit bringing Lawbreakers up. You're killing me.
Okay, so this is a bit. Oh, it's not controversial. If you actually know your shit, this is actually a truthful statement here. But Fortnite, right out of the gate, was garbage to people. Not to myself. I bought it day one. Fortnite did not do well right out of the gate. It was when they added the Battle Royale is what made it what it is today. A lot of people, even still, have not bought and will not buy, Fortnite, like, as the original game that it came out as.
Yeah.
I consider Fortnite a legit failure because they had to go free to play and copy a whole other company to make it what it is today. Is it a bad game? No, because I supported it. I bought the game day one.
Well, okay, like, there's another side of that argument as well. Okay.
That's why I said that's a weird one to say.
Well, yeah, what do you consider copying, though? Because I don't consider copying a game a genre. Like, you're talking, I think at this point that games are evolving, that battleground type games are a genre within themselves. So is it you know, a hack that a Paragon, that a Smite, that Heroes of the Storm are a identical, you know, format to League of Legends? No, I don't think it's a cop-out. I think it's them capitalizing on a genre. Just like when Call of Duty came out and was just like, you know, this huge big deal, people started diving into first-person shooters. You know, I think PUBG's doing well. That's now a genre. You're going to see Fortnite do more successful. It's like the baby brother to PUBG, but I you know, put my bet on it right now. I'll go ahead and say over the next 4 to 5 years, you're going to see multiple different PUBG style games come out.
Oh yeah, we're already seeing it.
People like that idea of the Hunger Games type of, you know, mentality, those type of game styles. So it's gonna continue to come out and it's gonna evolve into its own genre. So I don't think it's a cop out, but I also do agree with you in the sense that Fortnite as a standalone game, where it's you know, horde type based, like, you know, base building, fight off the zombies, was failing. So they switched to, you know, a battleground system. You know, and kudos for them to seeing the market when it was there, and you know, it's paying off for them.
Yeah, and they jumped on that bandwagon quick, and it did really well for them, and it still is.
Well, that's what Paladins is trying to do too. Paladins they're trying to do their own like battle royale system also.
GTA 5 silently did it. If you didn't know that, GTA has a mode on there where you do that. It was just very silent rollout. No one talks about it.
I play it all the time. It's fun.
Yeah, it was a silent rollout. I discovered it while just kind of playing GTA. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, I mean, it's popular. I mean, like, people like that stuff, man. Why not just go with it?
So, well, the reason why they like it is because you can
everyone
jump
wants
in.
to kill each other.
They saw a really good movie.
I mean,
they just had to make a game out of it.
It's not even that. It's a case of, okay, I can jump in, spend if I've got a half hour to blow, I can spend a half hour, jump in. There's no progression system. Everybody starts off with next to nothing except for the clothes on your back, and I can jump in and have a solid time. And then when I die, it's like, okay, I don't lose anything, you know, like I don't get set back, you know, I don't have any save data I have to really worry about. It's just, I mean, it's just like if you were to jump into Rocket League, you know, there's nothing that you get out of the game that's, you know, gonna make you better. There's no real technical progression system, you know, unless you're playing the competitive. But it's, yeah, you jump in for a little bit, you play a couple games, and then you leave.
Okay, but is that not what's appealing about it as well? Because like players are just like, okay, I don't have to spend hours to get good at this game. I can jump in and just play the game, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it's just it doesn't even matter like your skill level. You could be brand new to first person shooters and be playing this game and trying to understand how to play it. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know anything about the game when I first jumped in. I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't know how to play. I've never played Battle Royale system before. I had no idea about it. And I got my ass handed to me multiple times. But it's like, you learn about it. It's meant for anybody. You can play it if you're super seasoned on Battle Royale systems. You can play it if you're brand new to them. And there's nothing like, it appeals to everybody. And I'll be honest with you, I'll probably play it again tonight. I literally, while I've been doing this with you guys, I've already had 2 people say, hey, you want to play some PUBG tonight? And I'm like, hey, as soon as we're done, I'm going to be jumping in with you. Just gotta wait till this is done first.
Jeez.
All right. Well, I would say that's pretty much good for gaming failures. Let's.
Yeah, we covered exactly what I wanted to cover. So, all right, and we are
on to the next one.
Last one.
You can bring up that Gears 5, but I swear to God, if it comes up, I'm gonna burn it down in whatever studio that it came up in.
Okay, so Gears of War 4. Here's the thing: Gears of War 4 ended on a legit fucking cliffhanger with some bullshit. They have to have a 5.
Oh yeah. It doesn't mean it has to be good.
Jesus. Well, I am excited for Gears of War 4 is what got Rebecca into Gears of War, if you didn't know that.
Yeah, well, Gears of War 1's what got me into Gears of War. Gears of War 4 is what got me out of Gears of War.
Damn! Why? Why, though?
You're talking to a guy who was top 10 on the leaderboard for Gears 1, and I played in the MLG circuit, so I fucking hate Gears 4. Like, if it's not made by Epic, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Oh, you do make a point it's not made by Epic. Well, I enjoyed it. So, I personally am waiting for Gears of War 5 or 4 or Gears of War, whatever they call it with a tagline, to continue off what they ended the story with the last one.
If you're going off story-wise, like, okay, yes. Like, I think the story's...
That's all I care about.
The story is on point. The gameplay, though, when you dive into... the reason Gears is so big for me is because it kind of put esports on the map back in the day. When you look back at like 06, 07, all you had was Halo, and Halo kind of put everything on the map. But then you had Gears of War come back at like 07 in the Meadowlands, and then you have Call of Duty who came in shortly after. Those 3 games pretty much revolutionized like the modern kind of like esports format. And that's what did it for me. And I don't feel like the new Gears is anywhere close to it. It's much more fast-paced. It feels clunky to me. It doesn't feel like what it used to be. Yes, there was a ton of problems with hitboxes and, balancing on the weapons on Gears 1, bug issues and stuff like that. But Gears 4 and, even Gears 2 and Gears 1 are so far apart from each other, it's hard to distinguish itself within the same IP. So that's why my main bugaboo with it is. So
Bugaboo.
My bugaboo.
Your bugaboo. Well, all I care about is the story of Gears of War personally, so sue me. I never got into the multiplayer because it was literally me being chainsawed or murdered to death by some jackass.
Hey, don't feel bad, dude.
So
I tried multiplayer in 4, and I have never been fucked so hard in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Just saying, like, I jumped in and I just got obliterated. Like, there was no, and I'm not bad at Gears. Like, I've played, Gears 1, 2, and 3. I've beaten all 3 of them. I've played 4. I got, like, maybe halfway through 4, and I don't know. There's just people that have put a hell of a lot of time into it, and just, they're way better. I give kudos to them.
If you can't wall bounce, you can't compete, man.
Dude, I don't even know what that means.
Oh, I forgot to mention a game that failed. I'm just going to say the name of it. Agents of Mayhem. Okay, we can move on.
Oh, yes. Yes. If you go to secret.com, you can look at that review, and you will see exactly why.
Yeah, basically. No. I was excited for Agents, whatever that game's called, Mayhem.
Yeah,
they were like, They ruined it. They were like, no multiplayer. Well, game's ruined already. I don't even need to buy it. Bought it anyway, like a dumbass. Anyway, so
E3 predictions. All right, let's go with you, Andy. What do you got?
I predict they're going to show something about the new Zelda. That came out wrong.
Really?
The new
This
Metroid.
early?
Well, here's the thing. Actually, that's not incorrect. They're going to show something new Zelda, but it'll either be a 3DS title or be a classic looking style, kind of like a Link Between Worlds for either 3DS or the Switch. But they're going to show something Zelda, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, to capitalize on what the momentum that's going right now, I can see that definitely.
Yeah, because there are 3 development teams for Zelda, if you didn't know, which is hilarious. They're kind of, in a way, divided up by version of Link, if that makes sense. You got the realistic...
So kind of like Call of Duty that like does it? Like
yeah, basically. You got the people that only do handheld style. Not handheld only, but handheld style.
Yeah.
You got the people that do the cartoony style, and you got the people that make basically that remastered bullshit, like they did the 3DS games and they did Twilight Princess. And from what I'm hearing, because I'm not allowed to really say anything, so I'm just gonna mimic at it. The people that did the port and remake of the 3DS, Zelda Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, are currently working on something Zelda related as of right now, but I can't really elaborate.
Those non-disclosure agreements will kick you in the ass, won't it?
Yeah, that's what it's like. I can't really say much more past what I'm just saying, but expect not necessarily E3, but expect a Zelda presence sometime soon. Because, like I said, they do have 3 different parties. Some people would say that third party isn't necessarily Nintendo per se, Zelda per se, only. But I mean, they are known for working with Twilight Princess. They are known for working with the 3DS remakes of those older games. And then you have the people that did Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, and Breath of the Wild. And then you have the people that worked on Twilight, if that makes any sense. I mean, not Twilight. The 3DS games.
And respectively, they're completely different games as far as like aesthetical, like looking type stuff. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and the games that are similar to the other game, you know who the developer was already, which team that was, I guess I should say. But basically, there's going to be a thing, whether it's E3 or not. There's going to be something before the end of this year. So yeah,
that would be cool. I mean, me personally, like I haven't even had the opportunity to sit down and like dive in and like get to play a bunch of the Breath of the Wild and beat it, you know, where I grew up on Zelda. So, you know, I would be I'm gonna have to buy me a Switch and beat Breath of the Wild, and then whatever's coming out, play that. But you know, as soon as I do that, I'll be able to comment on it.
Well, it's fine. You can have Fraley Switch.
Hell no.
You want to send that to me, Fraley?
You can just take Fraley Switch. It's not like he needs it.
Dude, I play Rocket League all the time on Switch.
all right, Fraley. What's an E3 prediction for you?
Dude, it probably won't happen, just because I still think that they're trying to figure things out with it. But I'm gonna go out and say they're gonna announce Halo 6. We're gonna get. I guarantee you, we're gonna get a small cinematic.
Nope.
Yeah, guaranteed.
You think there's gonna be an announcement?
Yeah.
If they make an announcement,
that's what I'm saying. It'll be a small cinematic that will show off,
kind of like Halo 5,
because of the kind of.
Because Halo 5 was bullshit though. But yeah, they did that with Halo 5. They showed like his hood come off. But I will
tell you what. Here's what I want them to do. Okay. I want them to, and they already know that they have to do a small cinematic of showing just Master Chief. Don't bring in any other fucking characters, because that's what fucking caused Halo 5 to tank as far as the campaign goes. You show a small cinematic of Master Chief doing something, you know, heroic, and then cut that fucker right off right before the very end. Leave a cliffhanger and be like, this game comes out in the next 2 months.
No, I don't think it's happening, man. I don't think it's happening. I do not think Halo 6 is going to be announced. But I mean,
why not?
And if they do, they'll do it like they did Metroid, like Nintendo did Metroid.
I mean, even the official Halo website, they came out and said, you know, we got like big things coming this year. You know, big adventures planned. No, not those adventures. So like, okay, what other adventures do you have? You know, in the Halo world of things, you're gonna say, okay, hey, we're preparing for new adventures. no, not those adventures, you immediately assume Halo. So, I mean, they're leaving these subtle hints like, you know, it could be, it could not be. I just don't see it happening. Yes, they need to announce it, but do I see it happening? No. If they announce it, you won't see it until late 2019, early 2020.
Well, but the reason why they said not those adventures, whatever, was when they were kind of talking about Halo Wars 2.
Wasn't Halo Wars 2 already released when they said that, though?
No. Because I think Halo Wars 2 just came out just this year, or last year, I mean.
It came out early this year.
Yeah, it was early 2017, but I think because they didn't have anything for it before, I don't think.
Hold on.
I'll say I don't have dates or anything ahead of, or like in my viewing area, but no, I think they'll announce something for Halo 6. I really, really do. Even if it doesn't come out this year, if it comes out next year, that's fine. But I guarantee you they will announce it. They have to. Microsoft is like struggling as far as first party games go, so they have to. They have to announce something. They got to show the community that they took into account what they fucked up on in Halo 5 as far as the campaign. Multiplayer was fantastic. I don't know why 343 can't get this straight. In Halo 4, the multiplayer sucked.
And Halo 5.
The campaign...
Whoa.
Whoa, yeah.
I'm gonna sit this one out.
Whoa. You are backwards, son. Halo 4, the multiplayer was great. In Halo 5, it absolutely sucked. That's my opinion.
No.
Yes.
No. Here's the thing.
Baby?
Halo 4's multiplayer was not that great. The maps I didn't like any of the maps. The multiplayer was not memorable for me at all. I don't know. The last good multiplayer game before Halo 5 was like Halo 3. Halo 4, the multiplayer was just not that great. But the campaign was fantastic.
I mean, okay.
Now,
I can't agree with that because Halo 4 felt more like you're switching from developers. You're going from, you know, Bungie to 343, and in Halo 4, I felt like they preserved Halo to what Halo really was in the feel of Halo multiplayer. And then you go to Halo 5, and I played it, and I bought the game. I spent my own money and bought the game. After playing multiplayer, after like 6 hours, I put it back, and I went and traded it. I hated it that much. Halo 5 is a complete break off from what the original Halos were. Completely different, and I loved Halo for Halo, and Halo 5 is not Halo to me.
Thank you. Halo 5 is okay. Halo 5, the first thing that ruined Halo 5, no local multiplayer. You can't have a Halo game without local multiplayer.
Hold on. I don't disagree with you, but Kiki Wolfkill and somebody else over at Halo, over at 343.
Just because they had that name, they probably were a failure in school.
Dude, I don't know about you. Kiki Wolfkill is a badass name, period, okay? But, no, they came out and they said, we understand that a lot of people, said that not having local multiplayer really hurt them. And I do not disagree with them. And they did say that Halo 6 will have local multiplayer again. If they have to do whatever they have to, if it takes a fucking extra year for them to figure out how to do that and keep the frame rate steady, they said they will for sure have it.
Okay, well, are they going to fix the point that Halo 5 is complete shit and Halo 4 was good? If they can do that, then we're set.
The only thing with Halo 5 that was garbage is the campaign.
No, the multiplayer is the complete aspect of garbage.
What specifically?
Okay.
If you can point out for me specifically was so bad about Halo 5.
Halo 5 is not meant to be that fast paced.
Okay, well,
like
what made it fast paced though?
Everything, the entire. I don't know. It's just it's one of those things where you just pick up the sticks. You're like, what the hell am I playing?
No.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be real. When I made my friends all go out and buy Halo 5, okay, I literally almost not 100% recent, but recent enough, made some of my friends actually go out and buy Halo 5 because I wanted to give the game a chance. It didn't have local. We all had our own Xboxes, so I was like, let's just give it a chance. So we played Halo 5. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. The Forge mode is really fucking good. I started making levels from Conker's Bad Fur Day. I don't know if anyone's played that, but the game gave me that sense of nostalgia with some of the levels that were in it, some of the levels you can make. People have made levels from older games that looked absolutely phenomenal, better than the original. And as far as the gameplay, it felt enough like Halo where I didn't lose the Halo identity playing that with my friends only, not just regular online, but playing with my friends only. It did not lose its identity with me, and I thought the game was genuinely fun. But getting online and playing Halo 5, it does not feel like Halo. It feels like which sounds weird to say, it feels like a space shooter version of Call of Duty. Because at least Call of Duty, when it went into space, still felt like Call of Duty. Call of Duty feels like Call of Duty no matter what.
That is literally my entire point.
But Halo felt like Call of Duty, which is, it lost its identity with 5. As far as the story goes, the story may have been garbage, but at least the story, in a way, felt like just a second-hand version of one of the graphic books. It could pass as a Halo story, not necessarily a continuation, but as a Halo story. But as far as the gameplay, if you're playing with friends, yeah, that game is damn fun. But if you're playing with strangers, it's just fucking Call of Duty. Because I couldn't fathom how that game could have been considered a Halo game. It took everything out that made Halo what it was.
Yeah, it like stripped it down, even, and maybe took the basic concepts of what Halo is, but then like added on this shit that just wasn't needed. There's a difference between progressing on a good game and completely changing the fundamentals that made the game great to begin with. And that was the problem with me for Halo 5. So if Halo 6 can go back to its roots, to where what made Halo great to begin with, and there were a lot of people who didn't think Halo 5 was that great. I mean, there were a lot of people that I know personally, over a large aspect, there's still, Halo is a super popular franchise and people are going to buy it just like they would buy Call of Duty World War II. But, it's fundamentally different. And if they can go back to the roots of what they had with Halo 4, which I thought was a phenomenal game, then, I think they have the recipe to make a great game. But if it's like Halo 5, I probably will not spend my money to buy it.
Yeah, Halo 4 literally set up exactly what the future of Halo... Since they changed so much with 4, as far as the running, the abilities they gave the characters... I hated the level design for the multiplayer. I fuck Halo 4's level design. But as far as the way the game plays, they set up the fundamental basis of what Halo should be as a modern version of itself. And Halo 5 took that and ran with it, basically. They didn't sit down with a campfire and have a kumbaya, maybe nibble each other's ears. No, they fucking ran with that shit. They ran and they continued running. They're getting tired, but they have no water. That's what happened with 5. They took because when you pair Halo 5 up to Halo 4, they're almost identical. But one feels like Halo and the other one doesn't have an identity because older brother is just that much better than he is. He did better in school. He has straight A's. The other one is C's. This one has the friends, and this one doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have any friends because the friends looked at him and said, man, I'd rather be playing Call of Duty than playing the fake one over here. This dude with his fake chains and fake rims. I'd rather go to that guy's house. Like, you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah, no, completely.
I don't know. Halo 5 was just... It was okay, but it wasn't Halo 4 or 3 or Reach. Which was my personal favorite.
I like Reach.
Yeah, that was my personal favorite. Like, I loved the hell out of Reach. Reach is bootylicious.
Great game.
So
okay, well, Halo's Halo. Halo's Halo. What about the rumors? Are we getting a new Fable? Is Fable coming?
I've been hearing a lot about that.
But it's not coming this year. They've already said that Playground Games, because they have enough people now to do two studios technically working on it, or enough people to have 2 groups working on games.
Do you know who's working on it?
We are still gonna,
You know who's working on it?
Yeah, Playground Games.
The guys,
yeah, the people that did Forza.
Behind the Horizon series for Forza.
Why? They've never had any experience with the open world RPG.
But that could be good.
Here's the thing, though. Hold on. Here's my reason behind that. I'm going to answer your question, okay?
Okay.
So they had enough people to make. They were actually originally gonna start making their own open world RPG game. That was their thing. They said we have enough people. We're still making the Forza Horizon series, which we're also getting this year, which makes me very fucking happy.
I'm not happy
that
about
game
that.
is. Oh, dude, I fucking love the Horizon games.
I'm not even done with
amazing.
Horizon 3, and now there's a new one coming out. Like, shame on me.
I'm not either, but I love them. They're awesome. But so they said, okay, yeah, we're gonna come out and we're gonna start working on something that's totally different, that's not racing, to kind of broaden our horizons. No pun intended. And then Microsoft came out and said, we want you guys to do the next Fable game.
Which Rare should be working on it, but whatever.
And there was another group that wasn't Rare that was working on it before, and I can't think of the name of them.
Well, yeah, they're gone now. Microsoft closed them down, all the way down.
Yeah, but
Lionhead?
I think Rare would have been a better choice, especially because if you think like the people that do Forza, their in-house engine is what Forza is built on. That engine is specifically made for racing games, so it's going to take them longer to add in tools and tool sets to be able to work with an RPG style game.
Well,
because they don't have that.
Well, no, because I'm just spitballing.
Unless they used Unreal 4. That's the only other way that they could do it, but
well, word on the street is Dirty Microsoft. Everything, all the assets from Scalebound. Word on the street is the assets from Scalebound are being used for other Microsoft games now.
That wouldn't surprise me, but if it was made in Unreal 4, then yeah. I don't know if you can use assets from like one game engine and transfer it over to another one. Like, I don't know how all of that works.
Because isn't Forza running on Unreal?
No.
I
Forza
don't know
is
what
running on an in-house engine over at Turn 10.
Oh, right.
That they then licensed out to Playground Games to do the Horizon series. But that's all that engine is known for. So that's, they don't have any tool sets for anything else outside of the racing stuff. So unless Microsoft does some sort of like contract negotiation or whatever with Epic to allow them to use the Unreal 4 engine for this game, it's going to take them a hell of a lot longer to get that Fable game off the ground.
Now, here's the thing, is I'm okay with Turn 10 working on a new Fable.
Oh, I am too.
Because if you think about it, companies that make just one thing, for example, company that only made Killzone, only made shooting games,
Guerrilla Games.
That is a great example.
Yeah, they made Horizon Zero Dawn. So
this.
they had all these creative minds that only got stuck with your basic nitty-gritty, shitty, no offense to anyone that likes Killzone, first-person shooter. Branch out and make this whole other world using their ideas that they probably otherwise would never been able to use before. Working on... I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with them expanding their horizons.
Yeah, I agree. But can they do it? You're talking about a very fragile IP. Like, you're talking about people who have been sitting there and expecting Fable Legends. These people got super hype, and there's a very big, strong fan base behind Fable. So if these guys come out and drop the ball, you're talking about ruining an entire franchise. I guess
the franchise is already ruined. To be fair, Fable Legends ruined Fable already. So if they came out with a new Fable, that would be rejuvenating it, whether the game sucked or not. That's at least reminding people it was a thing.
And here's the thing, too, is Microsoft, because that is such a treasured IP, especially in their lineup, they're not going to let them fuck this up. If worse comes to worse, if Playground's sitting back and they're like, dude, like, by ourselves, we can't do this, we need help, Microsoft will bring in X people that worked on... whether it's people from Rare or if they bring Rare in to outsource some of this stuff to help them out, they're going to get the help. Like, that game's going to come out. It's just, how long is it going to take for it to come out? Is it going to take 4 years? Is it going to take 5? We may even hear something about it at E3, like an official announcement, where they come out on stage and they're like, yep, Playground Games officially making Fable 4. Here's what it is. We've got a couple things. They've already said that they're staying in Albion, which is that like main hub area or city that they, were in. I don't know. I haven't played a Fable game.
Yeah, because they said they want this new one to compete with Skyrim and The Witcher 3. And they want an open world similar to Horizon Zero Dawn. These are the words that they use, and that's why they chose Turn 10, because they have worlds that big with their engine, but they would have to re-implement that engine to work with the type of game that they're making. But they've already come out and...
There's no way.
They did spitball some ideas of things that they wanted to do with a new Fable. Whether that stuff will come to fluidity or not, I have no idea. But they've already spitballed some things. And it all sounded really nice.
I will be honest with you. It was almost a miracle that Guerrilla Games did as well as they did with the Horizon series. Because, again, they had...
took a shot in the dark, man.
Yeah, but they had the same issue that Playground's going to have, was their game was based all around first-person shooters. So then taking their engine that they used in-house and try to flip it and add more tools and assets and everything to, I can't even think of the word right now, but like to be able to then turn around and make an RPG-style game, like it took them a hell of a lot longer. They had to bring in other engineers and kind of compare it to other engines and be like, oh, okay, this is some stuff that we need to make sure that we work on, all that other stuff. But, and again, it was just kind of a miracle that game did as well as it did and was so well received and had a great story. I have no doubt that Playground can do that, but it's going to take some time. And I honestly think that, if they can, that, again, huge, shot in the dark, kind of throwing all your chips into one pot, almost thing. But I just, man, it's, with something like that, too, is it's a treasured IP.
Yeah, see, this is what I don't want to see. What I don't want to see is Microsoft having an IP they know that makes money, and they want to make money, and they hand it off to a developer who's not ready to make the game, i.e., I don't think 343 was completely capable of making Halo straight out the gate like that. So I don't want to see them handing off a precious IP to a studio who's not ready to make the IP, and I don't think that they have the background personally to dive into it.
But here's the thing, though. 343 has people from Bungie.
But 343 still fucked Halo royally.
Exactly.
Yeah. The story.
No,
we're gonna jump it back on this train.
I mean, fundamentally, I can't. But overall story, I don't like to see when IPs are passed. Okay, well, I mean, it's anything. When you make something, when you create something, the original owner is going to have that certain little twerkiness, certain little thing that makes it what it is. So when Gears was made by Epic, it was a great game for what Epic made it. When it switched hands, I think it became shit. So when the Halo IP switched hands, I think it declined. And when you start to watch these IPs switch hands, I think you're going to see more of decline of the IP overall. So sometimes it's not just making the IP, sometimes it's just making something new and fresh, and that's what Guerrilla Games did, and I think that's why they were successful.
Yeah, but I Guerrilla Games, they had the thing where they took a shot in the dark, but like that game had nothing prior to it. They were just like, oh, okay, we're making a new IP that's completely our own. And like you said, like I don't want to see the Fable game for all the people that are Fable fans, have it switch to Playground and then have them make it shit. But I honestly also don't think that Microsoft would let it do that. I think honestly they'll bring in extra help, whether it's people from Rare.
Well,
Rare's gonna have.
Well, we have to be realistic here. A Fable fan would be between the ages of 19 and 35.
Yep.
Yeah.
With that being said, so many games have come out to rival Fable, that all actually did it without a problem, because Fable started to decline after 3. So with that being said, this Fable game is going to have way too many expectations incredibly high. So honestly, no matter who makes it, the game could easily tank or do well, just because whether it has the name Fable behind it or not, there are plenty of games that have taken from Fable, made the same type of game, and have done well. So, it doesn't necessarily even matter who even makes this Fable game. We just have to hope it does well at this point. Because they're taking a big risk to make the game with a company that I think it's a good idea to have, but shouldn't even be touching the IP just because they don't know what they're doing with it.
I would agree with that.
And
But it's because we have our Skyrims, we have our Witchers, we have our I can even argue Dark Souls. I mean, we have our games that are similar in some aspect to what Fable does. We have games like Witcher that has done everything that Fable has done, to be honest. Where's Fable gonna stand? It's literally, at this point, it's just a name. So
yeah, because they failed to deliver when these other games did, so they moved in and like took over that genre. So yeah, I mean, where do they stand out? That's the major question.
Yeah, so when they come out with it
for the Xbox console, Xbox doesn't have RPG style games.
No, I mean you can get. I mean there are RPGs you can get for Xbox though. I mean they don't have exclusives, but they have RPGs.
Yeah, but if you're gonna go based off if you're looking to play just strictly RPGs, what console are you gonna get?
PlayStation.
I'm gonna buy a PC. No, I'm not gonna buy
or PC.
Buy a PC.
But see, PlayStation has way more. PlayStation has way more RPGs than PC could ever have because of the Japanese market.
Thank you, and that's the reason why. So, Xbox is trying to appeal more to those people that like the RPGs. What if you were like an Xbox fanboy and you're like, man, like I'm not going to go to anything else but Xbox because I like their games, but man, I really wish I had a really cool RPG game to play. Fable hasn't come out since Xbox 360 days. Kind of looking for something on the Xbox One that I can really sink my teeth into, but there's nothing out there for it. You know, and I'm not going to go and get a Sony PlayStation 4 because I'm an Xbox fanboy.
I mean, there's Witcher.
Yeah, but that's one game.
Well, I mean,
like 3 years ago.
But Witcher is just that good. The game still is topping the charts.
Dude, yeah. And I don't disagree with you. I reviewed The Witcher. Witcher's fantastic. It's my favorite RPG, and I would even go as far as saying that it's the best RPG ever made.
I believe it.
Hands down.
I would say it's definitely up there. I mean, it's definitely up there. I mean, everything that CD Projekt Red touches is pretty much great. But
dude.
But like, when we're going back to the case of like Fable, though, I mean, you know, it's a sad thing to say, but me personally, sometimes I would rather see an IP die than an IP get ruined.
Sonic,
and, yeah, Sonic. You know, I mean, watching Andros freak out over Sonic. I mean. No, I mean,
that triggered me so bad.
You understand, like watching Gears 4, like watching the multiplayer Gears 4. I look at it, I'm like, what the hell is this? I would rather the game die being great than them to continue it on and make it shitty. It's like any other movie you see. Like, you know, there's only so many Dr. Doolittles you can watch before you're like, what the fuck am I watching? You know?
Yeah, because that's how I felt about Dragon Ball.
There's only so far you can go.
I won't tell anyone, but that's how I low-key felt about Dragon Ball Super. So
yeah, Dragon Ball Super is garbage.
No Dragon Ball Z fan can say Super is better than any fucking.
Yeah,
if you say that, you are not a Dragon Ball Z fan. You're a Super fan. Yeah, you are a Dragon Ball Super fan, not a Dragon Ball Z fan.
Watching Gohan be a pussy is just too much for me. He needs to go. Let's go.
No, Dragon Ball Z kills Super in every aspect, and I've had a lot of people like Dragon Ball Z fans, Super fans, excuse me, unsubscribe because I dissed Super. It's like, fuck you. You didn't grow up with what I grew up with. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, I mean, all they know is Super. They didn't watch Dragon Ball. They didn't watch. I mean, they might have watched Dragon Ball Z, but you know, watching it from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, then getting Super, you're like. You know, sometimes it's better to kill it when it's dead, not come out with something, you know, 6 years later and just hope it fucking catches with people.
Yeah, just fucking make more video games. I mean, sure, I'm happy it did. Super's doing well, and that's why we got more games. I'm okay with that. But it doesn't make it good. Not to me.
Doesn't make it better.
Yeah. Sorry, that was just completely left to the field. It was on my mind.
I was gonna say
left field.
I'm gonna bring one other game out. I think we should each do at least 2.
Okay.
Just to kind of cut this kind of short, and I'm gonna make this one real short. I really want to hear at least just even a slight trailer again. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it, 100%. You're gonna get it.
Dude, I want to so bad.
No,
They can give it.
They've left hints. If I don't see Cyberpunk 2077 this year at E3, I will be absolutely floored. You're gonna see something about it, whether it's a trailer, whether it's a follow up. You will see that.
Even if you don't see it at E3, there's still a couple conferences before the year.
Oh yeah, I mean you have PSG. I mean, there's plenty of places to see it. Gamescom, which is like right after, you're going to see it in the 2018 cycle, 100%. So I wouldn't be worried there. I mean, they haven't. I mean, when did Witcher 3 release? That was 2000.
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. So they'll announce, and then probably you'll see a release date spring or fall 2019. But I would say almost put my money on it. You'll see something about Cyberpunk this year.
I hope so, man. Because if they can and they said it, that they were going to make this thing bigger than The Witcher 3. If they can do with The Witcher 3 what they can, or, if they can do with Cyberpunk 2077 with what they did with The Witcher 3, oh my God.
GG.
Dude, yeah, seriously. Because, like I was even listening, and this isn't like any sort of advertisement or anything for it, but it's a really, really good book by Jason Schreier from Kotaku. The guy wrote a book called Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and it just goes through like just the troubles and everything that a lot of these game developers have to deal with when making games. And he like specifically goes and talks to these developers on like, hey, like what happened, like what were some of the struggles that you had with this game and everything. And he talked about The Witcher 3, and it was like like they specifically sat back and were like, we want side quests. We want people to spend, $100, $200 into this game or whatever. But we don't want these side quests to be like fetchy or anything. Like, we want them to have meaning. And they did it. Like, every freaking side quest that you do had some actual story behind it, and it was fantastic. I hope that they give that Cyberpunk 2077 the same love and care and everything that they did The Witcher 3, because if they do, it's God, dude, I'll lose my life to that freaking game.
Yeah, and Witcher is a timeless game, and graphically it'll hold up for a few years, even past.
Oh hell
now.
Yeah, dude!
Yeah, that it's timeless in my opinion. So
that's my thing on Cyberpunk.
We're going to keep it short, but I'm going to elaborate for 30 minutes about how amazing it is. I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm just going to say my two games at the same time. I am expecting, and this is not based off any information I know as as my job and profession, but I'm expecting personally to see something about the new Metroid and Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to see something.
Maybe not the... Wait, what do you mean by new Pokemon, though? Are you talking about the Pokemon RPG?
The Switch one, yeah.
Man, I mean, they said something last E3 about it, but I don't know if you'll hear anything
cough,
this E3.
Cough, 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 non-disclosure agreement, cough, expect a Pokemon this year.
Yeah.
We do get certain privileges as media, but there's certain things we cannot say, but
yes.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming out, and I will trust Andros and him being a Nintendo rep, so whatever he says is the golden rule at this point.
Yeah, and I'm expecting to see a Pokemon. I'm expecting it. Just from what I'm hearing, I'm expecting to see Pokemon and something Metroid. Even if it's Samus showing some leg, I'm expecting something Metroid.
Showing some leg.
So
you just see a Pikachu like lift up a skirt like.
Well, I will say my last game, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's been 6 years.
Oh,
and
Jesus Christ.
on the cycle, if we're going by cycles, and Bethesda doesn't like to say shit until they get to E3, and then it releases in November. We had, Oblivion back 05, 06. We had fucking Skyrim in 2012, and it is now 2018. So Bethesda, if you do not announce Elder Scrolls this year, I swear to God,
you will be the second studio he goes and burns down.
I will literally find you, Pete Hines, and I will literally destroy your car with a baseball bat. So,
Jesus Christ!
So announce it. At least announce it. even if it's coming out 2019, everyone's waiting for it. We ask it every single year. It's been 6 years. It's time for it. You're going off the Fallout 4 hype. You have nothing else to live off of. You've already released Wolfenstein. You've already released, Doom. Fallout 4 is multiple platforms. You've released on Skyrim on every platform on the planet, including the toaster. It's time for you to announce the next Elder Scrolls. If you don't do it this year, I swear to God, Pete Hines, watch your car. It's getting destroyed.
You heard it from this guy here.
You heard it here first.
He's gonna, and as he drinks his beer.
Yes, sir.
Well, does that wrap everything up? Wrap up things,
That
guys?
pretty
Is there
much
anything
does.
that you wanted to say at all?
I
before
think
we
so,
end?
man. It's been a long podcast. This is like
Yeah.
what
Way
was
longer than we
initially only
expected.
going to be like, oh, we can do this in a hour. It has turned into like a 2-hour-long podcast.
Hey,
I've had to charge my phone 3 times. In
but
that
you
period of time.
enjoyed yourself.
I did.
Okay, that's all that matters. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. And I hope you had a good time here, if it was informational or blah, blah, blah. This is something we're going to do, to my knowledge, every Saturday around the same time. So expect to see something just about every Saturday around the same time. And if something doesn't happen, we'll definitely let you guys know. But definitely thank you for hanging out, and hope you guys have a great night.
Yep. Thanks, guys. EGD Sick Critic.
Meh.
Yes, sir. Are we not live now? Are we still live?
EGD and Sick Critic News. Join in!